Hi, I'm Rachel Whitefield, certified life coach, and with me is our resident self-sufficient siren, Jackie Black. Thank you for joining us on another fabulous episode of Whiskey Bent
Spellbound with Black.
and Whitefield. Oh, okay, Jackie, are you ready to jump into it? But first things first. Whiskey.
Molds.
Okay, ice molds of the day. Ooh, I decided to join you because I was like, I know you don't have a ton of them, so I went for the roses. For
Is that the
roses.
rose gold shimmer powder
Yes,
luster?
that is
I can
exactly
listen.
what it
I'm
is. Oh my
so good
God.
at fancy sprinkles. You could probably show me some of these colors now, and like I'm gonna know it. That's rose gold luster powder.
It was
Get it,
exact.
love it, thank us later.
I was like, don't forget, Rachel's. It's the rose gold luster powder, and you just knocked it out of the park immediately. And
Mhm.
I just love.
I
Oh, yes, I just love it.
I have squares with
Mhm.
the 24 karat
I,
gold
I
luster.
I was like, that's gold of some point. So,
Whew.
ooh, change. We're doing a little change up today, a little baseball.
Yeah. What you
Um,
drinking?
we're drinking the same thing, but a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we are
Same
both
brand,
drinking,
different flavor.
correct. So we are both drinking Old Smoky,
Oh, you got
Tennessee
little
moonshine.
shots.
I've got it from I have little shots from my like Christmas stocking. So I am drinking Old Smoky Tennessee moonshine butter pecan.
Ooh,
Moonshine.
that actually sounds
It
so
does.
good.
It does. My one of my favorite ice creams is butter pecan. So I was like, "Ooh, what is this?" These are just been sitting in my freezer. I haven't had them in a while, so I'm very excited. So, and you are drinking something you break out on occasion from time
I
to time.
I keep Old Smoky, the flavored Old Smoky in my whiskey stockpile on like just I love flavored whiskey.
Ooh.
I'm obsessed with flavored whiskey. I love it. It mixes well, it tastes good. Like I can drink it straight, I can drink it mixed, I can make good cocktails. And my favorite is actually the cookie dough one. I love a sweet drink. You know what I'm saying? I love a sweet drink. So I'm drinking Old Smoky cookie dough whiskey
The cookie dough
made
I
in the hills of
have
Tennessee.
is dough ball, but we're like, no. So we're gonna go to Old Smoky. So I was like, I've had these in my freezer. I have been waiting for a special occasion to drink these. Second one opening. Oh, we're just gonna pour it right over.
Yep.
It
And
looks. Oh, I
ooh,
wish you
oh
could
my
smell
God.
it.
Mine is
Oh,
lust.
mm,
My
mm.
whiskey is lustrous.
Ooh, that
OMG.
really good. Oh my God.
Like
Mine just looks like creamy, like glue on my, like little Baileys. That's what it looks like. Like,
it does look like Bailey's.
isn't it? It
Bailey's.
has like a really creamy like look to it. I cannot wait. So okay, so down the hatch.
Stop it some more with this
Hmm.
luster powder.
My luster powder, I'm not gonna say it's wasted. Oh my God, that is so Jackie, it's so good.
It's so pretty.
Okay, yours is so pretty. My luster powder is getting lost right now in the
It's
like
getting lost in the
creaminess.
sauce.
It's okay. I didn't put a ton of luster powder, but I do have a backup straight whiskey because we are going to get into it today
Yes.
on the podcast.
Yes.
On the podcast. So business out of the way. Well, no, so I'm glad we needed a drink. We need a drink for this one. So
We
today,
do need a drink for this one. It's been quite a day because I just got done with a podcast, a male dominated podcast, and they were just the example of why this movement is happening.
So today, this is but has been coming up all over my TikTok algorithm. I'm on the feminist side of TikTok. I'm on the right side of the internet, is how I feel. But we're going to be talking about the 4B movement. So, so this is a movement that has started in South Korea by women. It
Mm-hmm.
was a book, so it's a very misogynistic society we hear over there. And so the 4Bs, so B is kind of the sound that like no makes. I'm not going to
No,
say
means
the
no.
no, but I'm not going to say the words. I will butcher them, but it's like four no's. The four no's. So
Yeah.
the 4B movement is what it's called across, but it's called the refusal of heterosexual marriage, refusal of no childbirth, no romance, heterosexual romance, and no sexual relationships, and no heterosexual relationships. So if women want romance, they can find them in homosexual relationships and other women and stuff like that. But we're just like, we're not getting married. The women are not getting married. They're not giving birth. They're not in romantic relationships, and there are no sexual relationships with men. So they are decentering men in that country. So,
and like, it is pretty much, I think it's like 90% of the women are participating in this.
I hear different things on, because sometimes I hear it's a small movement. However, but again,
I think that's a fib to try to like downplay what's happening, because
true.
I heard that after 5 years of this movement, I think it was like 2 or 3 elementary schools reporting no first graders. And some of the elementary schools are reporting
150 elementary schools are reporting that they have no first graders.
Hell yeah. So men should be fucking scared.
So this movement has been going on for 5 years. So now we're really seeing the ramifications of, and a lot of these women, they're not out and about. They're just like, oh, I just haven't met the right person. So they're being very quiet about it, but they're just sticking to these guidelines and not doing anything about it. So within 5 years, in 150 schools, there's no first graders. So in 20 years, they will wipe out an entire generation.
Yeah.
So in South Korea, from what we understand, is that the economy, the government is starting to see what is happening, that these women are like, no, thank you. We don't need anything. So there are incentives for women. They're trying to create incentives for women to have children, which is giving a woman $75,000 for having a child, which anyone will tell you that is not enough to have a child. It costs way more than that to raise a child and send it to college. That's crazy. And have a good life. Plus, if you you have up to a year of maternal leave within the first 8 years of that child's life, but they're just like, it is frowned upon you if you take it. And if you're in childbearing years, a lot of places won't hire you because they're afraid you're going to take time off to have children. So they're just like, that's not going to work for me anymore. So they're saying, no, thank you. They're doing it quietly, and they have in 150 schools.
Well, it can't be that quiet if American women are now like 4Bs for me.
And what I love about it is that 4Bs is people are like, oh shit, I've been doing this for a while. I just didn't have a name for it.
Yeah.
So that's really understandable. So let's talk about it. So let's
talk about it. So, what would that mean?
So the refusal of marriage. We already talked kind of about the refusal of childbirth. So within 20 years, if women keep doing this in South Korea, always has had the lowest birth rate among Western civilized countries for a long time. So it's like for every person, there's like 0.7 children being birthed.
Right. And I know Japan actually has a really, really low birth rate as well. I know that our birth rate is falling rapidly.
It is. And I think I read somewhere that was like, that in Japan, they have to like fly in OBGYNs because there's not enough to keep them, not enough babies happening to keep them like staffed at the hospital. So like the OBGYN will like fly in bi-weekly to do like all the appointments and be done with it, or monthly, so it's just like, there's not a lot of people going in these fields because there's not a lot of people like in demand for it. So the country wants their birth rate to increase because also it's like the younger generations help support and pay for the previous generations. Like it's the millennials and the Gen Xers that are supporting the boomers right now. It's Gen Alpha that will support us when we age up. And there needs to be more in the next generation to be able to pay for these things that are happening. And if it is a shrinking generation, then it's like societies will collapse. But also these women are like, I'm not going to be around for that. I don't care. You guys didn't take care of us, because this boomer generation, they get social securities, they could buy houses, they could go to college.
Mhm.
We can't. And so we're like, we're the first generation that will have it worse than our parents.
Yep.
So us millennials are like, we're not going, or like Gen Z are like, we're not going to have kids. We're not doing that anymore because inflation is too high. We can't afford education. Like we aren't wages
Food,
aren't
buying
increasing
food.
with inflation. So we're like, it's harder and we don't want to do that. So it's like, it's too student loans. Like it's too hard to have children. I can't support a child. So I will not do it. And so then we're like, well, okay, the world can burn because I chose not to have a child, you know? And so it's like, I'm fine. Like I'll die and then I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was
No,
like,
I
yeah.
encourage my children to not have kids. I encourage them to not have children
Mhm.
because first of all, society is already collapsing. It has nothing to do with the 4B movement.
Mm-mm.
Society is already collapsing because we have these things called billionaires. Fuck them, eat the rich.
And
But
we are
like,
deciding not to have children because I'm like, it's harder. We
it's
can't
too
do
hard.
it. Yeah. And
It's
so we're not
not
going to do it.
affordable. It's not a thing that we can do. I don't I genuinely, like, when I see somebody in a younger generation than me having a child, I'm like, how are you doing that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How? Why? Childcare alone. Childcare alone. You basically, to work, you have to put your kid in childcare, but the childcare takes your entire paycheck. So why work? But
Exactly.
then how are you going to buy food? But then if childcare takes the entire paycheck, how are you buying food? I saw diapers the other day. They're twice as much as what they were when my kids were born. I
Mhm.
remember going to Walmart and buying a pack of 40 diapers for $10. They're $25.
Mhm.
And you have to buy those twice a week.
Yeah.
And that's like, that has nothing to do with like the food that it costs, the clothing that they grow out of. Like, it's just, it's
Everything
crazy.
is more expensive. Wages are,
Everything
so it's
is
just like,
3 times as much.
yeah. And if someone's like, oh, $75,000, I'm like, okay, great. But I'm
Yeah.
going to be punished at my job. So I'm going to lose that money,
Right.
kind of thing. I can't take maternity leave. It's like, and then on South Korean women, it's like they're the ones doing the majority of the housework, the chores, like the men aren't doing it. And
I
so
mean, American women.
also true, more American women do the majority of the household chores than the man, And so it's like in marriages, those heterosexual marriages, let's put it that way,
Yeah.
or relationships and cohabitation relationships. So it's they're just like, no, thank you. And so they're just sticking to their guns and they are in the process of wiping out an entire generation. And I'm not against it. But also it's like when you talk about, so China had a one child policy. And then they
Right. But
put,
they were like heavily overpopulated. And
yes,
that one child policy
mhm,
was for one specific race. It wasn't for the
gender.
entire population of China.
Oh, so they had one child policy and then all just the culture leaned heavily into the boys.
Boys.
So they would trigger alert. Sorry, they would abort if they knew they had a
Or
girl
they would
baby,
adopt out
or
the
they would
girl.
opt out the baby. So they would have one child. And so now there is generations of lonely, lonely men who cannot find
Yeah.
wives because there are not enough women to go around. And so these
Yeah.
are all also very different societies, but they're just like, okay, well, we're not even going to have babies anymore. So and they also say the refusal of heterosexual marriages. So they're just like, we're not even going to get married or have romantic relationships. So like men can't, like,
Find wives.
they can't find
And
wives.
that means their lifespans are going to decrease.
Mhm.
Their lifespans are going to decrease so significantly because a marriage benefits a man in that way. Because men, when they get the common fucking cold, they die,
Yes.
right?
And
And they
women
need a
handle,
woman to take care of them
so they, yeah,
because
so
their
like
homies aren't going to take care of them.
my ex-husband actually told me, he's like, I'll never get remarried. You were my wife. I'm never going to get remarried. And who out of the two of us gets married first, remarried first is him. Because I was like, marriage benefits men more because they have someone to cook for them. They have someone to take care of them. They have someone to like cohabitate and like listen to them. Because again, when we talk about a male loneliness epidemic, a lot of them don't have friends. So they get their social circles from their wives. They get their care and attention from their wives,
Yeah.
not their social circles. And then
Right.
when women are like, oh, hey, I have a great social circle, like I have a great social life, like I have a whole thriving life outside of a partner. Because what do we say when we are on dating apps? We say, do you make my life better than it is when I am alone? Because it's like you are not in competition, because people are like, how many other people are you talking to? It's like,
Oh, I know. One of
I'm
the dudes that
not.
I was seeing earlier was like, am I competing with anybody else? And I was like, me.
Yeah, me.
I love being alone. I love living alone. It's me and my cat. My house stays clean. I make the food I like. I don't have to do anything extra. I leave when I want. I go on trips when I want. I go see my friends when I want. Like, you're competing, my guy, with me. I can stay in my house for weeks at a time.
I have a great social circle. So it's like, your competition isn't another man.
Yeah.
Your competition is, do you make my life better or worse? That is the litmus test that women go against, because we love our lives. The
Yeah.
happiest women are unmarried, which single or divorced, unmarried women, no kids. So I
Yeah.
am in
And
the
isn't it like the
borderline
age is like
demographic.
over 40?
Yeah, like it, because
Yeah.
it's like,
The
okay,
happiest people on earth are unmarried women, no children in the house, over 40.
and I could be like, my
That's me. That's
husband,
you. That's us. We're
yeah,
so happy.
like I'm so happy. I
I'm
don't have.
so
I'm
happy.
so happy.
I've never been happier. I
Mhm.
remember vividly asking my mom, like, when is my life going to get easier? When is it going to be? When am I going to finally be genuinely happy? I have never been this happy I love my kids,
Mhm.
love them. I've
Mhm.
never been so happy in my life as when I am just here chilling with my cat. I can walk down to the bar if I want. I can go get on a fucking plane if I want, when I want. I don't got to tell anybody or match up calendars. I don't got to do none of that. I'm happy as fuck right now.
We just planned our next rendezvous, and
Yeah.
I just bought the tickets. I'm like, I don't have anyone to ask about.
Yeah.
You can to be like, okay, I'm gonna go to this. I'm gonna go to Virginia. I'm gonna go have this time with my friend. And I wasn't like, oh yeah, whose other life do I have to plan around? I was like, nope, got it.
Yeah.
So it's just like we are the happiest demographic. We are not lonely because we invest in our circle around us. So it's like,
Yeah.
so to me, I'm just like, okay, when I die, I die. No children is fine. But it's like, no heterosexual marriage for 4B. It's like, no, thank you. And it's like, once I got divorced, I was like, oh, you're going into business with someone. That is what a marriage
Yeah.
is. And
We are married, me and you.
we are not legally married, but like we are financially, technically kind of married because we have a business together. But I was like,
Yeah.
okay, we're good to do that. And
Yeah.
I told you that. I was like, Jackie, I don't have
Do
a ring.
you want to
Like,
marry me? And I
do you
immediately
want to
said
marry
yes.
me? Yes. I am
Yes,
a
I do.
yes, you are a catch. And I had no qualms about going into business with you. I was like, girl, I know you, so it was really, but I was like, I'm going to think long and hard if I ever get married again, to be like, how does this benefit me? Or is someone benefiting from my emotional labor, my physical labor, from cleaning the house, things like that? So it's just like, I will have to think long and hard if I ever have another domestic partner,
Right.
you know,
In your house,
and not
living.
just getting married, but like cohabitating with someone. Like,
Yeah.
what will that mean for me? Because I just got it. And I'm like, this is so good, living
Yeah.
alone.
I love this. I
Mhm.
love this. I don't have to, I just love not having to check in
Mhm.
with somebody about what I want to do.
Yes.
Now, that is not negating the relationship that I am currently in. However, if it doesn't work out, I'm 4B.
I swear to
I'm
God, if this
4B all the way. This is my last go around the sun with a man.
if this
If it doesn't
relationship,
work,
I
I'm
swear to
going
God.
4B. And I don't care because I will eat a vagina. I don't care. I
I know.
love girls.
Yeah.
They
So it's
don't
like,
know. I got a choice. We have a
we have a
choice.
choice. Yeah. Because I bet
We
those
have a
girls are
choice.
really good at too.
Oh,
I
they're
was like,
so
oh
good.
yeah, like off the bat, they just know what we like, you know? So I was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, I've never had sex with a woman. So it's more of like, okay, like that is something that I have to think about broadening my horizons for. But I was like, I swear to God, if this relationship doesn't work out, I was like, I am not going to worry about having a relationship with a man.
Nope.
Like, like I love my girlfriends and I just need to learn to have sex with them. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Like, I don't need I don't need them. I don't need them. I
Mhm.
happen to find myself in a position where, like, oh, this one is checking all the boxes. Let's be very careful about going into it. I'm excited,
Yeah.
but I am very aware that if this doesn't work out, I am 4B with
But
men.
what I will
Period.
also love about this when some women are like, "Oh, I didn't realize there is a name for it." It was like when we finally name it. It's like when
Yeah.
sometimes it's like if I'm feeling something because you know I like to like process and sit in my feelings. It's like I don't know how to articulate how I'm feeling. And once you name it or once you kind of put a title to it or describe it, you're like, okay, now I can identify it and move forward, you know? So it's like, oh, now there's a name for what this thing is, you know, that it's just like, I'm going to live my life to the absolute fullest, go to all the happy hours where all the
I'm
amazing
going to
flow.
every country I want to.
Yeah. Like, and I don't have to ask anyone else or ask anyone permission or do we have enough finances for that? It's like we both have great jobs and we're going,
Yep.
yes, like I don't have to ask for anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's just
No.
like that works for me. Like that doesn't work for me. Okay, thank you. Bye. Like it's fine.
Bye.
Bye.
And that leads us to the next one. No
Mm-hmm.
sex with men, no
Yeah.
romantic relationships
No romantic
with
relationship.
men. Now, this one I think is going to trigger. Okay, here's the thing about this movement.
Mm-hmm.
Men are violent creatures. They do
Some
not
men.
know how to
We're not talking
control.
about all
Not
men.
all, I listen, men cake. Not all cake is
Correct.
good.
Not
You
all
guys,
men. Mm-hmm.
not all men.
And here's the thing. I think the 4B movement will only fuck up the shitty men
Right,
because
but they're the
good men
majority. That's what
are getting married, do have
yeah,
relationships, not the nice guys.
right.
I'm talking about the good men
Right.
because they're like, yeah, you shouldn't date those men. Like we know the good men.
Yeah, there is very, very good men out there. There are really sweet, caring, empathetic men out there. I raised one.
Mm-hmm.
My son is one.
Mm-hmm.
He absolutely, I can't wait till he gets married. Whatever woman he gets married to, he's going to treat like a fucking queen.
Yeah.
I know he's going to find a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not talking, but like, listen, it's like at least I want to say 80, but if I'm being realistic, it's probably like 60% of them are terrible.
That's
And
fair.
like they don't want to change.
They don't want to change. They
They
want
don't want to
access to
protect
women's
us. They
bodies.
don't care about our feelings.
Mhm.
They are increasingly lonely and it's just really really sad. And here's the
And
thing.
it's
I
only
think
going to
that
get
if
worse.
a majority of women move into this 4B movement, I think they're going to become violent.
I think they will too.
Yeah.
Because
I think that
there
they're going
was
to they're
just there was just that in Australia, the Bondi,
okay. I have things to say about that.
sorry, trigger warning, this is violent, but it's like there was a from the point we're recording this right now, there recently this week in Australia, there was a Bondi um mall stabbing, and this man specifically targeted women. One man died because he was the security guard that like went to like, you know,
Save.
save everybody. But like
Yeah.
this man specifically targeted women because he could not find a girlfriend, he could not find a date. Women would not, because he was a shitty man
Yep.
that didn't look inward. So he made it everyone else's faults. And then he killed 6 people.
Yeah.
And
Because they can't regulate their fucking emotions. They just get angry and
yeah,
then they get violent.
and they're going to
And
take it
here's
out
the
on
problem
everybody.
is that I think in America,
Mhm.
they're going to get angry and violent and then create laws that regulate women's bodies even more.
Yeah. And
You know what I'm saying?
here's the thing. So a lot of these men from like, oh, my algorithm, they're kind of like, well, if you don't want this, like, we're gonna. And here's the thing. In some of the comments, it was like, we're gonna R word you, sorry, trigger warning everybody, or we're gonna
Yeah.
sell you like cattle. And I was like, you're the exact reason why women are decentering you. And the threat of violence has always been there. So
Yeah, you're
you
not
are
saying
just
anything.
proving our point. You're not telling us anything that we don't already know. The reason why we keep our keys in our hand in a parking garage, why we don't go running at night. You like, we already get it. The threat of violence is always in the back of our minds, ever present. How many times I always check my door 3 times before I even like go to bed, and it's like, we already have that there. So the fact that they're just being more out loud about it, we're like, we know. Or they're like, oh, we're going to take our protection away. I was like, protection from who?
You're not,
Other
you've
men?
never protected
You weren't
us.
protecting us in the first place if it can be revoked. Because in that mall stabbing, all those men ran to protect their life. They did not go and try to like hurt these women, try to throw their bodies. No, a mother threw
And
her
he was
body
just
over a
stabbing people. He
child.
wasn't even shooting people because they're not allowed to have guns in Australia. He was just shanking bitches. And
Yeah,
all these dudes are fucking running
running.
away from him. Like
No
they couldn't get him.
protection.
It's just like 9/11 when they just had box cutters. How
Yeah.
the fuck these dudes got into a goddamn cockpit with box cutters blows my mind sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jesus.
Yeah. But it was like,
Box cutters?
yeah, but I was like,
Knives?
no one was running to protect anybody. They were running for their lives. And I was like, I don't blame those men for running for their lives because that was a smart thing to do. However, don't act like you're going to be like, we fight all the wars and we do all this. It's like,
No, you don't.
no, you
You
aren't.
don't fight all the wars. I wish
And
you would. Go ahead.
and that situation, again, thank you, TikTok, where this woman turned down a man's advances. So he threw a brick at her face, hospitalized her, and he was surrounded by a group of men who did nothing
Nothing.
because men care what other men think. So
Yeah.
don't act like they were ever protectors because we know you're not. We know you're not. And so it's just kind of like, okay, if you're going to get more violent, we'll only be more like in our own community. And we're not going to be around men because you're going to be more violent and we don't trust you. So you're only going to make it worse for yourself. So the whole point is look inwards, do the work if you actually want to have women in your life because we've had enough. So I commend the 4B movement. I commend South Korean women.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love that they put a name to it. I love that they like outlined it enough to say, hey, this is what it means. I said, okay, excellent.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. And you know what I love even more is that it's gaining steam here in America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's my favorite part is that like more women are like, yeah, men are just not doing, and we're not going to lower our, okay. We put our complaints about men on the internet, on TikTok, on Instagram. We put instructions on what we want on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram, on podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
We tell these men what the bare minimum is and how excited we get for the fucking bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they're so fucking confused about what we want. Like, what do you mean you're confused? What do you mean? What do you mean we're asking for everything? And like they think that these women who like, okay, so there are some men who like spoil the fuck like financially out of women. And
Mm-hmm.
do a lot of women want that? Sure, who wouldn't want that?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want that? That sounds great. But those men, a lot of times, I'm not gonna lie, like there are some men who just get off on just financially spoiling a woman, which is great. Good. That's your kink.
Yeah.
There's also some men out there who are like, I don't want my wife to even know we have bills. I want her to be as stress-free as possible, because when she is as stress-free as possible, she is all about me. She does everything for me. That is a very self-centered point of view for him. But women are like, I would, you know what I'm saying? It's not all women. There are women like you and me who are like, if you spoil me mentally, emotionally, physically, I'm going to do the same back.
Yeah. You hold me down, I'm going to hold you down. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
And that is genuinely what I think, in my opinion, from every woman that I know, is what we actually want. That's what we want.
Mm-hmm.
I do the dishes, you do the dishes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I cook, sometimes you cook. Or if you cook all the time, I'm there helping. I'm your emotional support kitchen helper, like you are. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like if
I don't
if
cook in my relationship. I do
yeah,
not.
you don't.
I don't.
You don't. I cook
My
in my
father,
relationship, but
my father cooked in my household. So in
yeah.
my life, men belong in the kitchen. That is what so
And
I was
I
like, a man needs to
love
cook.
that. And the dude that I'm dating right now, he cooks.
Yeah.
He's the guy that likes to cook. So I'm obsessed with that. Like that is great. So like the thing is that if it is not hard to be in a relationship with a woman if you don't want her to be your fucking mom.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we don't want.
Yeah.
And we have been we put this all on the internet, and like the podcast I was on today
Mm-hmm.
was full of incels. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
Clearly incels, involuntary celibate men.
Yes.
Who desperately they all wanted to be loved, but they blame women for their singleness.
Mm-hmm.
Because, oh, the women are choosing the wrong men. They're not choosing good guys. Are you really a good guy though, bro?
Because if you
If
truly
you're blaming
were,
the women
you would
and
have
you
girls
don't see the
lined
fault,
up.
yeah, you don't see the fault in men. And then they were talking about how, oh, beautiful women have men lined up.
Doesn't mean
Trash.
go
I have
out.
trash in my DMs.
Yeah, there could be 1,000 in your DMs. I'm like, doesn't mean they're worthy of dating me.
Doesn't mean I'm attracted to them, bro.
Just because I can catch a date doesn't mean I want to go on one. Are
Doesn't
they?
mean
Because
I
they
want
keep
to.
talking about high value men. It's like, are they? If you're sliding into
No,
PM, I don't trust you. Hands down, I don't trust you.
no, because
If you're
every
sliding
single
someone
time I
to
see a man is sliding into my DMs, his literal following is all hot bitches. Like he just follows
yeah.
everybody. He's liking everybody. Like embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
Embarrassing. The man I'm dating now, he hasn't been on social media in 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
All platforms, hasn't been on it.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't been on it. It's just like it's embarrassing. Like don't no, just because we can get a date, just because we can get laid doesn't mean that we should be giving our time to men who disrespect us.
Yeah. No, we're not going to do it.
No.
So
I wonder. So here's the thing is that the 4B movement is catching fire here.
mm-hmm.
Big time. It's catching fire amongst the older generation, us. I'm calling us, we're the adultiest adults now, just FYI.
Now we're 40 wonderful. Like we're not the
Yeah.
young ones anymore. The millennials
not.
are aging up. But yeah, like again, because of all the like regulations and shit, that like abortion bans and stuff going into
But why have sex with men?
I really feel very fortunate that I was like, oh, I'm aging out of that. So it's like, I don't have to worry about it. I'm so grateful for my age at this point. Never thought I would be.
Yeah.
But it's
I'm
like,
so happy for perimenopause right now.
they're repealing our rights. So it's just like, okay, we're not going to have sex. We're not going to have babies. We're not going to have access if we're soon. So it's just like, okay, so we're not going to have sex because we can't have reproductive autonomy we can't have bodily autonomy.
I don't
So
have access. I don't have access right now because I live in Virginia. You live in Colorado, so you still do.
However, Colorado is being inundated by people coming. So people in Colorado who do want reproductive freedom also are waiting and suffering because of the influx of people coming to more blue states. So, but
Wow.
I feel very fortunate where I live because I was like, and the social programs when I was on Medicaid, I had medical, vision, dental, mental health.
Wow.
So I got to have counseling on my government benefits.
Yeah.
And I got to be better because of that, which allowed me to move forward in my life, move up, and get off those social programs. So these liberal social programs are a benefit. to society, 1,000%.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it was really, really wonderful. And I'm so grateful I got to live in the state that I do, that I am thriving because of the programs that Colorado has had. Full stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't relate. I was on government assistance when I lived in Georgia, so they didn't have anything like that. It was just like you can go to your PCM.
You can get government cheese that doesn't melt.
Literally, it wasn't good.
Hmm. Yeah. So now that the women are kind of doing this very quiet, but somehow just like the silence is deafening kind of thing, in the 4B movement, that the men are now doing their 4G movement, because of course
Oh,
they
okay. Hold on, hold
piggyback
on, hold on.
shit.
I've heard it called a couple of things, and the way they are not creative the fuck at all.
Because here's the thing,
Okay.
they're acting like they're okay. So I don't have it in front of me, however, is like the 4G movement is like, okay, you know what I really appreciate? They're like, we're going to be financially responsible because we don't want a wife until we can make her a housewife. So we're going to make enough money where she doesn't have to work. Okay, great.
I
Excellent.
support that.
Excellent. And so they're like, we're not going to give you children. And we're like, okay, great. That's what we wanted. So they're like firing us, but we're like, we already left. And so now
Yeah, no, we quit.
they're like, you didn't quit. I fired you. And I was like, okay, great. Like, whatever. So they're trying to act like, oh, we didn't want you from the first place. I was like, keep being lonely, keep being incels, keep being awful and doubling down to keep. If men were better, and I'm not saying all men, I'm just saying, because again, we've been on the dating apps and we've gone through our fair share of not great men. So
Yeah,
I was
no,
like,
it was the
if
majority
men
of them
were
that
better,
sucked.
especially
The
South
man I'm
Korean
dating
men,
now didn't meet him through a dating app. Like, that's the thing.
true. So if men were better for generations, for thousands of years, if this wasn't this fucking patriarchal society, then we wouldn't be doing this. Then those women wouldn't be wiping out a generation. You know, so it's just like, if you were the men that you say that you are, then we wouldn't come to this. But we're just like, we're done with you. And now we're at the 50th anniversary of when women have financial autonomy. We can finally have a credit card without a husband or a father's name. We can buy
Bank account.
a bank account without a father or husband's name.
Oh, we can buy a house.
Yeah. So without a father or a husband's name. So it's like, finally, we have the Fair Credit Act is 50 years old. So that came out in 1974, 9 years before we were born. That is it. That is it. And so, like, it's so fucking crazy, right? So it's just
Dude,
like,
it's so
women who
infuriating.
have fair credit 9 years before we were born, like 6 years before my sister was born, it's so infuriating. So it's just very much like, it hasn't been around a lot. So it's just like, finally, this is what we don't need a man. So go be better. If all you contribute is a paycheck, we have that now. I make more money than the first round draft of the fucking WNBA.
You do.
I do.
Bitch, you
A lot
do.
more money than
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark, not with her endorsements, but I make more money than Caitlin Clark did for her WNBA salary for the first
She
round
got like a
draft pick.
$320,000 contract for 4 years.
4 years. She makes $74,000.
I make better money than her.
Yeah.
With all of my income streams.
Totally chaps my ass. But two, it's
but
like,
they don't have enough audience. That's why.
think that's for another podcast.
That is true.
However, it's like, when they say, what do you bring to the table? I'm like, bitch, I paid for this table. I paid for this whole house.
I have my own table.
If you can't contribute a paycheck and that's what you feel like men are quote unquote providers, what have you. Okay. Now, are you a fair and equitable partner? Do you open up emotionally? Are you more than just a paycheck? Because paychecks we have, money we have.
Honestly, go build me a fucking. Did you build that table? Go build me a fucking house, because men used to build houses.
Go build houses
for his wife.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't do that?
No. And I was like, I can get my lawn mowed. I can do everything around this house. I may not know how to change a tire, but I know how to get it down to the mechanics to get it done.
I know how to change a tire. I know how to change my oil. I know how to change a tire. I know how to change a light bulb on my car. I know. And you know what? I'll take it to the shop with the lady mechanic because I trust her.
You know how to do? I know how to swipe my fucking card and pay for everything I need in my life. That's what I know.
How about that?
So I'm like, I'm not asking men to like provide for me. I provide for me.
Provider also
However,
does not
I'm
mean
asking.
specifically
Yeah, that's my understanding.
financially.
But I'm saying, what is your personality? I don't like when men are like, oh, all they're gold diggers. I'm not gold digger. I provide for myself.
You know what? I'm so tired of hearing that phrase
Yeah.
because it's always a man with no gold.
They ain't got no gold. And they're like,
You
okay, so
don't have a
like,
gold.
I'm not
Not
looking.
one gold.
I want someone who is a good person, who is a decent human being, who opens up
Someone I can
emotionally to me.
trust
Yep, that I trust with
to
my body.
leave my sisters and children with.
Yep,
Someone I can trust to defend me when I'm and my
not in the
friends
room.
when I'm not in the room.
Yep,
Someone I can trust like Jesus.
that's all
This
we
is
need.
literally the bare minimum we're talking about.
We need you to be the men that you say that you are. That's it. Go to therapy and talk to us. That's all we ask, honestly. That's it. That's it.
Like it's not
It's
hard.
not hard, but they act
And
like it is because they don't want.
they act like it's well, that's the thing is that and here's the thing. I actually super empathize with them because it's not their fault they have this mindset. It's the patriarchy really bent them over
Yeah, to say it's
so
not, you
hard
can't
and
have emotions.
shoved it right up in them.
Yeah,
And they
the
just don't
patriarchy
understand
hurts
how to
men
get out
too.
of it.
The patriarchy hurts men too, and they
I
don't
think it hurts
realize
men
it.
more
Yeah,
because
because who
now look
tells
at
you
us,
you can't cry? Who? Like,
men,
yeah.
not women. And
Mm-mm.
here's the thing, I've seen comments like, oh, last time I cried for my girlfriend, she told me I gave her the ick. Then that's not the right
It's not the
girl,
right
but
relationship. You don't have to be in it.
she's not the majority.
It can be amazing. My man has cried in front of me, and I fucking love it. Like, because if you listen to the last podcast, how my ex-husband was like, oh, you're crying, go into the room and come out when you're done. I don't know what to do with a crying woman. And I'm not like, oh my God, I love that my man cries. But the fact that
No.
he is willing to be vulnerable and honest and open, and I'm just like, baby, don't ever stop doing that. Like, please be your most authentic self because that makes me feel more connected to you, that we have a really like significant moment right now. And it's
Yeah.
like, I thank you because I was I was married to my husband for 13 years and never once did I see that man cry. When he went on deployment for the first time, I got a chin quiver and I was like, "Oh my God, that man loves me." A chin quiver. But the only time I ever saw him cry was after he left me and I had slept with someone else. And he was like, did you sleep with him? And I was like, yeah, like we're
Yeah.
not married anymore. And he burst into tears. So he didn't cry when he left me when I was sobbing. He only cared about my relationship with another man. That's the only time. So then he just burst into tears and he's like, do you love him? And I was like, bitch, I don't even love myself. Like, what the fuck? Like, but at that point, after 13 years, when I just wanted more of him, right?
Yeah.
More of him. And so finally he's crying. And I was like, you can cry me a fucking river. I do not
Yeah.
care. Because at that point, you'd already thrown me away. And
Yeah.
so it was just like, I don't care. But if you hadn't have left, I would have been like, I would have given anything to see that man cry just to know that like you are alive inside. So it's like I have a person now that is very in touch with the way he feels. And like he'll tell me how much he cares about me and get choked up. And I'm like, yes, baby, more of that. Like I
Yeah. He's in
love
touch
it.
with his
I
emotions.
never ever doubt how he feels about me. And I love
Yeah, because he's in touch with. There's no way a man crying would give me the ick. I'm just
it.
like I don't get me wrong. Like I hate seeing a man cry. I hate it. It just for some reason when I see a man cry, I'm just like, oh,
Oh,
oh, oh,
yeah.
oh." You know what I'm saying?
Like,
Because
perfect. Like, because we have empathy.
oh my God, because like it really society does tell them not to cry,
But
right?
they think they're
And
gonna
so
get
when
the
I
ick.
see a man
They
just
don't have
let it
the ick.
go, I'm just like it
Right.
just Oh, it stabs me right in my soul.
Oh,
Way more than when a woman is crying. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I hate seeing people crying. I hate it. But like, I cry for no reason. If I'm not between a 3 and a 7 on the emotional scale, crying.
yeah. You seeing a man cry is like seeing me cry. You're like, it doesn't happen that often. Oh no.
Yeah, that part. Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Because it doesn't,
Who do
yeah.
I have to kill like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. But I appreciate like when anyone or in touch with their feelings enough to just be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
Like I'm a whole and complete person. Nothing I feel is wrong. And like in my current relationship and partner, like I trust my body totally. Like he
Yeah.
never tries to just like,
Yeah.
you know. And so because he's proven himself to me and I really, really appreciate that, you know. And I was like, that's why I know like there are good men in this world because it's been proven to me. And I was talking about maybe you or someone else about this. I was like, I don't really have that many shitty dating stories for long term because I was like, I don't tolerate shit men, and which is why I have like a lot of short length relationships. But it's also like I've been surrounded by really good men in my life, so I know what that looks like, and I won't tolerate anything less.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, if you're not this standard that I have been proven, thank you. You know,
Let's go.
yeah. Oh,
But
mm-hmm.
because they're not, because for the vast majority of them,
Mm-hmm.
they're more just like, I'm getting emotional, so I must be angry.
It turns into anger because that's the only thing I feel that they know how to express without
Yes.
quote unquote judgment.
Yes. Like that's the most masculine emotion. So that's the one that they know how to express.
Yeah, or the only one they feel that they're allowed to
Yeah.
express. So,
So now we're not marrying them.
we're not
We're
married.
not having sex with them.
Mm-hmm.
We're not having children with them. And then what's that fourth one?
Oh shoot. No romantic relationship, no sex, no marriage, no kids.
So not dating.
So no dating.
Not dating at all.
We're not dating. So I
Because here's the thing, we
wonder,
don't feel safe.
true, because there are no less than 10 women that have my location right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, everyone
Yeah,
has
yeah, yeah.
and when
I
I
have
started dating,
10, absolutely.
we're afraid of
Sometimes
getting murdered.
my
Mhm.
friends will check in with me who don't know that I'm traveling and be like, "Bitch, why are you in Mexico?
Yeah. Did you get abducted? No.
Are you being sex trafficked right now?"
Yeah, because it's like our word, like how many date lines are all of it, you know? So it's just like men are afraid that their date will be ugly. They'll be on a bad date and we're afraid that we're getting murdered. You know, I think like what Margaret Atwood said
Oh,
that
you mean
like,
like ugly physically? Like
yeah,
they're afraid that they're going to show up on a date and not look like their profile, or like, oh, they used a filter. They have zero thought that they're going to be sex trafficked or raped
or
on
drug.
a date.
So Margaret Atwood, who wrote The Handmaid's Tale, she said men's greatest fear is that women will laugh at them. A woman's
Literally.
greatest fear is that we will be murdered. You know, because it's like we have to expect it, you know. So it's just more of like everyone knows our location, everyone knows this. Like it must be like nice to move about in the world and like not be afraid, like not have to look over our shoulder, not have to, what are you wearing? What were you doing? Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so I actually wonder what the statistics on dating apps like Hinge and Tinder, um, if female membership has gone down. So, and then I just think everything that's going to be on a dating app eventually will just be a pick me.
So I agree with that part.
Mhm.
But I hadn't thought about
What?
I hadn't thought about the fact that there's going to be way less women
Because we're burnt
on.
out.
And here's the thing. The thing is that these guys that are, a lot of them are involuntarily celibate. They don't want women like that. They don't want the pick-me's. That's why the pick-me's are all still on the
Because they're
apps.
too easy.
One, they're too easy, and two, I don't know, you know,
Because they want to be everything to every woman, to every man. So they're like, oh, pick
why
me,
do they want women like us who are not on the apps,
because they
who are
want to take us
very
down.
headstrong, strong personalities, very career driven, very independent, very like take charge? Why do they want women like us? Why won't they go for the pick me girls?
Because they want to take us down a peg.
Shit. You know
Because they
what? You
they
ain't
want to
wrong,
turn us
because
they want
I
to
think
turn us
I
into that and like quote unquote ruin us. So they're like, oh, or they're like, we can't ever get a woman like that. So it's just like, oh, I want her now. You know, it's like you want the thing that you can't have. You know,
it's
they
so
want to turn us
stupid.
into a pick me, or they want to like tear us down to take us down a peg. And they're just like, okay, now we're gonna ruin you. Like, because it's like they don't actually like us.
Women.
They want to fuck us, but they don't actually like us. So it's like they kind of hate us. And so they're just like, well, I will still want to have access to sex in their body. But I was like, but I'm going to like breed resentments and like cause drama and shit just to be like, and we as women are like taught for like men are in this white knight on the shining horse at the house on the castle on the hill. So we have this hope in our minds that men are always that until they prove that
They
they're
never,
not, you know?
yeah.
So it's like they want to conquer to be like, I put her in her place.
And it's always those guys who are like, oh, women are gold diggers. It's always them.
I got
You
my own
know?
gold. I got a lot of it.
Literally have my own gold. I'm not digging for anybody but a partner.
I got this fucking yellow
This is,
canary the size of my knuckle. Come on, man. I bought this myself.
come on, dude. I don't have any of my rings on,
Oh,
but the
you
snake
don't
ring I
have
usually wear is
Yeah.
white gold with diamonds and emeralds. Suck a dick.
Mm-hmm. Because
Like,
they don't know what to do when we can do it ourselves. So I was like, just go to therapy, figure your shit out, and be a good partner. It's all we
and
ask.
also
Oh,
like
stop.
talk
Oh,
to
stop.
each
Oh,
other.
call
And
it.
when you talk to each other, don't call each other simps, because it is not, I don't even understand that phrase,
Because
simps.
I feel like, because you said on that podcast that men truly desire to be loved, as we all
We
do.
do.
I will believe that. However, like I feel very, very secure in my relationship. And I would like, I love the way my partner is. I would not change that. And it's like we have a very secure relationship and a loving one. You would agree.
Yeah,
And
I would agree.
so it's like when people see us, I know people are like, oh, I want that. Like they are connected and they like we like engage with each other when we are out. And it's like,
Yeah.
I know people look at us with envy to be like, oh, I want that. But then they're going to be like, well, I'm not going to open up to her. Ew. Like that's what it takes. That is how I don't look at anyone else because my man opens up to me.
He opens up to you, and he also
And
makes you feel very confident and secure in your relationship.
And other men may call him other names, but I was like, it doesn't fucking matter because my man, like, he is a good man.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
he doesn't have to tell anybody that he's a nice guy, because his actions speak
Other
louder than
people
words.
will say it for them.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
A good man will never have to tell you that they're a good man.
No.
Everyone will say it for them.
Yeah. His actions will say it for us.
Exactly. So this 4B movement, as we move into the spellbounding portion of
Yeah,
the
I'm
4B
in it.
movement, I think
If
it's only going to pick up traction. And yes, I think you're right. There might be more violence against women, which will only pull us more into
it.
isolationism.
The
Like,
podcast that I was just on,
mhm.
it's men like that on that. And if you guys want to hear about that podcast, it's going to be on the Patreon. It's men like that pull women into the 4B movement. It's men like that push women away from dating men. It's men like that who have zero self-confidence, zero desire to listen to what women want, and literally just perform the bare fucking minimum.
Yeah.
That are just going to push us into the movement. Like, you guys, we don't want much.
Yeah.
We don't.
We
As
want
women,
a bestie that we fuck. Be a
yeah,
bestie.
we literally, I want a
That's
best
it.
friend that I can wake up every morning with. I want to be an alarm clock for the man that takes care of me. Like, I'll stretch out my jaw. I don't give a fuck. I'm nasty like that. I will wake my man up with a blowjob every single morning, but Jesus Christ, Why is it so hard to find a man who will do the bare minimum so that I can wake my man up with a blowjob every morning?
Every Sunday, I go to brunch with my man and we just get into the cheese may. And let me tell you, it is the best part of my week is Sunday brunch.
Yeah, dude. And he just listens to all your goss, your hot goss.
My hot goss. He may not be able to follow it, but I was like, I will make you a flow chart. And he is into it.
Yeah, dude.
Yes, I love it.
Listen to my hot goss. You can put it in the butt. I mean, this is not rocket science.
I
We
know.
don't
Just
ask
listen
for
to it. It's not
much,
so
dude.
hard. Be better
will-
men, and you'll get all the sex you want, and there won't be no 4B movement. So look inwards, buddy. That's all I say.
Talk
That's
to
what
your
I-
friends.
Look inwards. Be better men. Be protectors.
Don't
You're gonna
stop
be-
calling each other simps. Jesus fucking Christ, I hate
You're
that
loving
word.
your woman. No, get the fuck out of here.
Oh,
I'm not here for it.
you
Oh,
guys
Jackie,
all want love.
I see you shuffling those cards.
I'm shuffling the shit out of them, and
We're
the
ready.
tower already popped out. So that's
So, okay, so we have had the whiskey bent portion of the podcast, and I had a drink before the podcast even started, so it was very fun. So now I think I'm gonna have a whiskey after this podcast too, because I'm still deflating from that podcast you were on earlier. So
Jesus.
man. All right. Anyways, so so now into the spellbound portion of the podcast. I know you see those cards.
Yeah, I'm reading Murder
Darling.
of Crows. Murder of Crows has been speaking to me a lot lately. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
I need to charge my Black Tarot a couple more
We
times. into
just
the
had an
moon.
eclipse. You were doing sex magic during the eclipse.
I was doing sex magic during the eclipse by myself. It was masturbatory sex magic, still sex magic.
Hey,
You can do both,
Mhm.
sisters. You can do both. Trust me. Trust me. Orgasm manifestation is real, and we're going to talk about manifestation on a
soon
podcast coming
podcast.
up, I
Yeah,
think.
so buckle up.
very, very, very soon. Manifestation in general, quantum leap manifestation, sex magic manifestation. I believe sex magic manifestation is the strongest, but it is what it is. I'm still shuffling. That's why I'm still talking.
Mwahahaha.
All right.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. All righty. So the first card here is what is this? I think Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles.
Pentacles.
All right. Right. This is about like exploration. This is about like a path. This is about being like an emissary.
For better men, be a better man for other men.
Yeah, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So the explanation says birds may squawk at the rider to pick up their pace and bring a horse to gallop, but their mind is set and their steady step will not be altered by these angry croakers. So if you are a good man who just happens to be listening to our podcast, just stay the path, because you're literally going to get men calling you simps the minute you start talking about women and how men need to change.
And if you're secure in your masculinity, then it's not going to bother you.
It shouldn't bother you. Especially like I have a friend who I follow on TikTok. His name's BK.
Mm-hmm.
The most secure, sweetest man. He's the goodest. He said it today in one of his posts. He was like, if you get men calling you a simp every single time you start talking, just keep talking, because they just don't like what you're saying, but they'll hear you eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that.
Very true.
Two of Wands.
Two of Wands.
Ooh, oh, okay.
Oh.
Into this world you are thrown. There's no maps here. And it's not yet written. It will take your hands and time to tame the lands before you, to carve a path that others may follow. So this is about like a fork in the road, but a desire to like keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Things are changing right now, I think, in the world.
Um,
Do you think this card pull is specifically for men?
I feel like it is, but also that card to me can be like, if you're doing the 4B, it's like kind of keep going. Like
Yeah.
it might be hard, but
This
it's
could
like,
also be about 4B too.
yeah,
The Knight of Pentacles. Cause like if you are following it,
yeah,
it might be telling us to keep talking about it, keep telling other women.
yeah, and
Like, hey, don't give these dudes any fucking time
yeah.
until they have done their own fucking work.
I'm
And dudes, if you're listening, this is you. Like, tell the other dudes, talk to each other. Don't don't listen to the naysayers. Just keep talking, keep sending that message.
yeah.
Because like
I feel like this tarot card pull is like for the men to be like, be better men. That's all we're asking you to
yeah,
do.
yeah, like you might have a fear of failure. You might have a fear that this 4B movement is going to take over and you won't get yourself a wife. We know you want to be loved. You just have to be better.
Yeah. Because we have love to give. We're
We
just
do. We have so much. Did you
girlfriends
not
now.
hear me? I love to give blowjobs to
Isn't
the
it?
man who takes care. I'm a good ass wife. I
We
don't
were
even know how to be a girlfriend. That's
we
the
were
thing.
great wives. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Great wives. And
The
now
man.
I'm like, a man better know how to cook.
I know. So the last one is the 10 of Swords, but look how creepy that is, dude. It's
Oh,
upside
okay.
down.
Get on YouTube, everyone. 10
Yeah.
swords. Okay.
This 10 of Swords, so upright, it means defeat, loss, the need for an immediate exit.
Okay.
But it means the opposite this way. It means the opposite when it's in reverse. It doesn't mean defeat. It means fucking we won.
Mm-hmm.
It means we get everything we want.
You know,
And that could go either way as well as far as the 4B movement. So women, if we're sticking to it, we're going to get exactly what we want.
I hope so.
Men, if you're talking to each other and you're telling each other how to be better men for us and you want to be loved, you're going to get exactly what you want. It could go either way.
Yeah, I agree.
It really, really could.
Yeah.
And then while I was
Shuffling.
shuffling, the Tower card popped out. The Tower card is imminent disaster. This seems like a warning, dude. This seems like a warning.
Why? Because we're
To,
gonna wipe out a whole generation.
yeah, to everybody. To everybody. Dudes, if you guys aren't talking to each other, you guys got to start talking to each other. Take that fucking word simp out of your goddamn vocabulary because it means imminent disaster for our civilization, our society. Societal collapse is happening already. This generation is already not having children. The birth rate is already decreasing by a crazy rate. It's gone completely in South Korea. Japan's birth rate is almost gone, and then us, we just can't afford to have kids. Shit's on the
US
brink.
birth rate has been declining.
Yeah, it used to be 2.5 kids per woman or something like that, right? 2.5 kids per family, and now it's like 1.75 or something like that. That's 50%. I don't know. I don't do math.
It's 1.66 births per woman in 2021. That's what it was.
Shit, dude.
And
It used
now
to
it's
be
not
2.5.
2.5 kids. It's 1.6 kids now. So we are still, so again, every relationship, a man and a woman, has to have more than 2 kids to replace themselves. So even families are getting smaller. My grandmother was one of 16, 11. She had a huge family. My mom said that she had 100 first cousins. My mom is one of 6. She had
Okay.
2 out of those 6 kids, only 3 out of those 6 that my grandmother had, her 6 kids, only 3 of those had kids.
Yep. And out of
And
my
then
mom,
And out
My
of the
mom
two
was
kids my
one
mom
of
had, only one had kids. So families are shrinking. Thank you.
absolutely. Yeah,
However,
because
it's like
my
my
mom
mom
is one
had,
of 5.
mhm.
She had 4 kids and she has 3 grandchildren total.
My mother had 100 first cousins, she said. My sister's kids, because my sister had 3 kids, so they have enough to replace themselves.
They
My
have no,
sister's kids have 0 first cousins.
I was just going to say they have no first cousins.
They have no first cousins in 3 generations. And
That's the collapse of society. Women, stick to your guns. Tell other women about the 4B movement. Do not relinquish it until men have fucking changed.
Till they treat us the way
Men
they should.
also talk to each other, figure your
Mhm.
shit out, become more emotionally intelligent.
Mhm.
Otherwise, to all of us,
It's the downfall.
collapse.
Yeah.
Enjoy this dark ass
And
tarot read.
I'm not gonna feel sorry about it.
I'm not sorry about it at fucking all, bitch. At all. I'm ready whenever. But also, I really like the man I'm dating, so I hope I don't have to join the 4B. We have
I
a
don't
lot
want
of
to. It's like I am an ally.
I'm
Like
an ally
I
as
am here
fuck.
for it.
But
I'm not
also,
against
I
it.
will switch teams fast as fuck. I will have 2 girlfriends. I already narrowed it down to 2. We're going to be a power throuple if shit doesn't work out. It is
Yeah,
what it is.
because we're fine without you guys. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, yeah, we got strap-ons. It's great. And we're way better at it.
I'll agree. Anyway, okay, so I got my drink. Oh, Jackie, we went on a ride today because we
That
filmed
was a wild ride.
Patreon before. We had to really unpack. Join us on Patreon where you can hear the behind the scenes of us unpacking Jackie's misogynistic podcast appearance in real time. That's where the cheese may is for real, you guys. So join us on Patreon. It's $3.95 a month plus tax because patrons got to get theirs. Whiskey Bent Spellbound on Patreon, and then you can get early release episodes there as well. And a shout out for your small business as well for supporting us on Patreon. So we love to see you over there for behind the scenes content after our sizzle reels. And then until next time. Thank you for joining us on Whiskey Bent and
Spellbound with Black
and Whitefield. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.